Welcome to Men in Relationships, the podcast about evolving the emotional habits of men through inner transformation that will lead to positive external changes in your relationship. I believe there's a huge lack in support and vulnerability and discussion around these topics about men in relationships, and that's why I'm here talking to you today. So sit back, relax, and let's grow. Hey, it's Joel. Welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day today, and I welcome you back to another episode. So a little bit about my weekend and week here. This episode is just a little bit more of a free-flowing what my experience was throughout the last week and hopefully provide a couple lessons throughout that and just which I experienced and went through. And I was at a stag, my buddy's stag. I'm in his wedding party, and we went out of town about 4 hours away for the stag. And it was a great time. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. It was an all-around fantastic time. The interesting part of it was that I was surrounded by a dynamic in which I was very familiar with in my past. And in my past, I partied a lot. I partied like crazy. I partied every weekend pretty much and just lived for that. Grind during the week, and that's when I'll live is the weekends, and I'll go as hard as I can to extract as much enjoyment and fulfillment and party as I can. And we had a great group of guys in which we loved doing that. And it was a blast. It was really a blast. And I was surrounded by that environment this weekend. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with that, because it was truly fun. I dialed it back more than the other guys, but yeah, they went for it for sure. And anyways, it was just interesting to see how I more or less adapted and what and how I felt this week, particularly at the start of the week. It's now Wednesday, and I'm kind of emerging from the cobwebs of what it took me off of my routine. And not even just my routine, but just took me off of what I'm in alignment with and what I'm trying to do. And over the last couple of days, I really had to reflect on a deeper level and a couple deeper questions in which were, why am I here? What purpose do I have? What's the point of all this effort? Because I saw that enjoyment, that fun, that let loose, that familiar environment in which I was very familiar with, of just like, hey, this is awesome. Let's have a great time. Let's live for the weekend. And I was brought back into that environment. And then that got me questioning, why am I working so hard here? Why am I doing all these things? Why am I living so healthy? And I had to get my mind back on track and really ask myself those deeper questions, because truthfully, getting back to it would just be so much easier to float, to give up all this other stuff and do the tasks with the least amount of resistance, stay in my comfortable bubble where I won't change, work during the week and live for the weekends, essentially being a pawn in the system. And I really had to understand, why is it important that I take control of my life and choose to align my actions with my bigger desires in life? I had to really recommit to that over the last couple of days and understand why I'm doing that. And it's interesting because now that I'm back in the swing of things, I went back to the gym. I was even going to the gym when I was there. I wasn't even that far out of my normal living. It's just being surrounded with different environments. And that was kind of a reminder of the importance of having such an environment that aligns with what your bigger desires are. It's going to be next to impossible to create something new, create something different, whether that's in your relationship or whether that's just a goal or whether that's anything in life. If we are trying to emerge and move beyond a certain circumstance or where we're at in life, or where we are at in a relationship, it is going to be next to impossible if we keep doing the same familiar things. And mind you, I have not been doing, I don't go on stags every weekend. I don't relive like I lived back in my quote unquote party days, but just dabbling in it for a little bit. To fully emerge from that took me a couple days. So I can only imagine if that was my environment all of the time. It would be extremely difficult to keep pursuing the things that are important to me and what I am moving towards and what my relationship with Jess is moving towards in life. So it's just this great reminder that our environment has such a drastic impact on our results. So maybe take note and just check in with yourself. Hey, is my environment, are the people I hang around with facilitating my desires and my dreams and the relationship I crave? Even look at your just relationship. Is the environment, your home environment, whatever your environment and people that surround you with, are they lifting you up in your relationship or are they pulling you down? Is your partner, are you guys in a proper environment to facilitate that? An environment doesn't only mean people, it can mean the place, the energy in your home, the way you interact. There's so much that goes into what our environment is. And even coming back, I felt the environment was off a little bit. And that's because of a concept which I like to think of as the law of reciprocity. So reciprocity, you'll never receive what you desire from your partner unless you provide your partner with what they need and desire. So there's psychological studies that have been done in the law of reciprocity. It's actually in many books on influence and persuasion, because naturally, if you get given something, say a gift or a nice gesture or whatever, you most of the time unconsciously feel that you need to reciprocate that action or give something back. And there's a lot of sales stuff that goes with that, but it's the genuine truth, with any relationship, whether romantic or with friends, work, whatever it may be. If you're not being a nice person, if you're not being a good person, and if you're not fulfilling the desires of your partner, they are not going to want to do the same for you. Whereas on the flip side, if you are treating your partner and you're fulfilling their desires, their needs, it's going to be so much easier to return that favor in return, to give back to what you are giving. And I just think it's so important, and we stray away from this because it's so easy to gravitate to selfish tendencies and, well, I need this to be a good person, and I need this if I want to perform better, and I need me, and I fall into this category a lot as well. But when I realize, hey, I'm not going to get what I need unless I give to others what they need, in particular my partner. I need to think about them and what they need and how they need to be treated, rather than just being stuck in my own egotistical ways and mind and thinking, what do I need? What do I need here? How do I thrive? Give me what I need to thrive. And it was just another important reminder that, hey, I'm not going to get what I need unless I'm showing up and I'm giving and I'm providing. And then the law of reciprocity can work in my favor, and in turn, I will receive what I desire. So it's just an interesting, thought and introspection that I had this week after this stag, after this shakeup of my familiar environment and familiar activities. Not to say that that's bad, and not to say that you can't do that once in a while, because it was fun, but it just made me reflect on, okay, why am I here? Why am I on this earth? Why am I in this relationship? What purpose do I have here? Why am I working so hard to be impeccably healthy and fit and have a spiritual connection to myself? Why do I desire personal and relational growth, financial growth? And why do I desire and yearn for an amazing relationship and an incredible connection? Because we forget about these things. If we don't reflect on them, and if we don't bring them into our consciousness, they're just going to go by the wayside. It's going to be so easy to just fall into familiar patterns. As soon as we get reminded of a familiar pattern of the past, oh, this was fun. Hey, having that wild time was awesome. Oh, maybe that's it. We're more familiar with those states because we've experienced them, and we like to gravitate to what is familiar. So if we're not careful, and if we're not consciously, continually seeking new environments, pushing ourselves, stretching ourselves, leaning into aligning our actions to our intentions, different than what we've done in the past, we're just going to fall into those same patterns. We're going to get roped in. We're going to go to what is familiar, whether that's our emotional reactions, whether that's our emotional habits. For me, I've really felt myself sink into those emotional habits that I had a long time ago. I reverted back to them. That was my fallback. You put me in that environment for a few days, and naturally, it's like an addiction. I have an episode called Emotional Addiction where I break this down in depth. But emotions are addictions. They are our body. It's way less work for our brain to latch onto those emotions in which we've experienced in the past. We've just formulated those neural pathways that they fired and wired in so many times over and over and over again, and that's what we naturally will revert to. So it's so important to continually experience and live within and live aligned to the person we want to become. That takes so much intentionality and work every single day to do that. And that's why it's important to rebound and important to get back on track to who we want to become and start living as that person as if it's already happened. There's actually no limitations stopping us from becoming a new person. In theory, we don't need to experience something or receive something prior to us acting a different way. The only reason we don't do it is because it's so uncomfortable that we're not used to it. So me showing up as my ideal self the last couple of days was very difficult because it was more unfamiliar to me than it was the last few days on the stag. And that reminded me of how I used to act, and that was familiar to me. So now now I need to go against the grain again and say, no, why am I here? What's my purpose? Why am I doing this? And what's the point of all this? And be reminded of why I'm doing this, the importance of it, the importance of feeling amazing, the importance of deep connection, the desire for something more, that growth within my relationship and within my life. I just had to remind myself of it, because if I don't know why I'm doing it, then I'm just not going to do it. Why would I do it if I can't see the benefit of doing it? So I really had to introspectively dissect that this week, getting back out of my familiar environment this weekend. So I just wanted to share that lesson. I think there's a lot of takeaways there that I wanted to share with you, especially if you're in a relationship, and especially if you're a man who used to live within old patterns, and you go experience, or you go to an event or a week away or whatever it may be, and you're reminded of how you used to live. And yes, there's a lot of good in that. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that are beneficial about that, but they're going to derail you from where you're trying to go and who you're trying to become. So just be very aware of that. And then please just try to remind yourself those deeper questions. Why am I here? What purpose do I have? And what's the point of all this effort? What's the point, essentially? So I wanted to share that. Just a quick message today. I hope you can extract some sort of lesson. And other than that, I'd love to hear from you. If you're wanting to work on your relationship, if you're wanting to receive and move into a new version of yourself, a better version, a more equipped version to handle a relationship, or just strive beyond the point of where you are currently, feel free to reach out to me. Send me a message on any social platform, just my name at Joel Mahe, or send me an email to coaching@joelmahe.ca. I would love to connect. I would love to hear from you. And it's time that you remove yourself from those familiar environments, step out of that comfort zone, and let's do this. I need to do it. all week. I've been working on it, and sometimes we need help. And I literally seek out help. I get coaching myself. I go in mastermind groups. I just see the benefit of it, because when we're there by ourselves, that familiar environment is going to suck us in. It's going to be so hard to exit it when we are going at it by ourselves. So if you would like help, or if you simply want to connect, I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let's make it happen. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day, and take care. Before I let you go, I just want to let you know what I've been up to behind the scenes. I've been busy building a program called the Emotional Evolution Process. And this program was built through inspiration and really just a passion for something that I believe in so strongly, and where there's just really a lack in the market for, and that is men in relationships, and to help men evolve their emotional habits. This is something that we need to work on, especially if we want a fulfilling, successful relationship, or if we need to repair one that might be in jeopardy right now. So, like I said, check me out on socials, send me a message on socials to connect, and if this sounds like a fit for you, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, have a great day.